I tried to woo Rachel for 4 years, but she still looked down on me. That night, I braved the heavy rain to bring her an umbrella, only to get cornered in a dark alley. She stood at the entrance, ignoring my cries for help no matter how loudly I shouted. After it was over, she walked up to me, seeing me collapsed in the muddy dirt, and said from above, "I just wanted to see how low a so-called suitor could stoop. Stand up now and say you love me, and I'll agree to be with you." I laughed. I told the system I want to switch targets. My hoarse voice echoed in the pouring rain, lamenting. I knew Rachel was at the mouth of the alley. She could hear me crying out, but she didn't respond at all. I lay there, disheveled, in the mud, still clutching the black umbrella I'd brought for Rachel. Vaguely, I heard footsteps and saw those familiar white high heels. She looked down at me laughing, like everything I'd just gone through was a joke to her. No pity at all. She said, from her high ground, "George, didn't you love me a lot? Now I'm right here. Why aren't you jumping up like a dog wagging its tail?" My fingers twitched. The black umbrella wobbled in my hand. Rachel saw it and scoffed. "Is this umbrella for me? Too bad, I think it's dirty now." I opened my mouth, but my throat was raw, probably from screaming too loud earlier. Hoarsely I asked, "Why do you treat me like this?" "Why?" Rachel sneered, like she was asking both of us. She said casually, "Because you're a suitor. So a suitor deserves to be trampled on?" I asked, feeling chilled. "Yup," Rachel replied coldly. The first time I saw her, she instantly saw through my identity as a suitor. But I never expected her to hate me this much. I'd done nothing wrong to her, just been kind, unconditionally. I hadn't interfered in her love life. She didn't even like anyone else. I had no clue what I'd done to make her despise me to this level, to watch me get humiliated and not care at all. Don't they deserve it? Rachel's tone was ice cold. I just wanted to see how low a so-called suitor could stoop. I laughed, tears streaming down my face. "Rachel, suitors are people too. We have our dignity." I tried to stay calm. "Dignity?" Rachel laughed like she'd heard the funniest joke ever. "George, stand up now. Stand and say you love me, and I'll be with you." Her lofty attitude made it clear she wanted to crush my dignity into the ground. I shifted my body, using every bit of strength to rise from the mud. I was wounded all over, completely embarrassed. Rachel watched, unmistakable contempt in her eyes, assuming I'd give up my pride just to woo her. I finally stood upright. "Rachel, it's over," I said, before slapping her hard across the face. I put everything I had into that slap, but honestly, it didn't hurt. I didn't have the strength to kill a fly right now. Rachel was surprised. She couldn't believe I'd actually slapped her. Anger blazed in her eyes as she pushed me back into the mud pit. I fell hard, choking on rain and mud. "George, you've lost it," Rachel shouted angrily. "I'm not crazy. I just see clearly now," I said. "I should have switched targets when the system mentioned it. I was foolish to think I could win her over." "Rachel, like you wished, I'll never bother you again." Rachel laughed, unbothered. "George, if you can't win me over, you'll be wiped out. Do you want to die?" Was she just taking advantage of that? But Rachel, the system isn't that heartless. Each suitor gets 2 chances to switch targets. You're not the only one. Kneel and apologize. I'll forgive you," Rachel offered mercifully. I ignored it. Honestly, I could barely hear her. After a night of mental and physical torment, I was drained. My consciousness was slipping, everything blurred around me. I felt like I'd die before the system erased me, until I opened my eyes in a hospital. For lines ran into my arm, but I was alone in the room. "Host, are you awake?" the system asked cautiously. My whole body ached, burning up with fever. "After you passed out last night, Rachel brought you here? You said I could switch targets once," I interrupted the system. Yes," the system answered. "Do you want to switch targets?" "Yes, I'm sure." I cut it off. "You might want to reconsider. Rachel seemed different last night when she brought you?" "No." My voice was firm. "I want to switch targets." The system kept trying, but last night, seeing it was all orchestrated by Rachel, made me more determined. She deliberately had me bring her an umbrella just to humiliate me. I don't know why she dislikes me so much. But I'm not going through that again. Next time, I might not be so lucky. You don't have to say anything. I've made up my mind. I told the system, if I fail this time after changing targets, I'll accept the punishment. The system sighed and said, since you're so insistent on this, I have to respect your wishes. This time, the target is Wendy? Who? I thought I'd misheard. Wendy, 24, Rachel's cousin. Tougher than Rachel, the system reminded me. I was speechless. I don't know Wendy well, but everyone in Beijing knows about my pursuit of Rachel, and Wendy, as Rachel's cousin, is fully aware. That's why I suggested not changing targets. The system said helplessly. Is it too late to change my mind? No, but I'm not changing my mind. I said firmly. If it doesn't work with Rachel, why not go for someone new? Plus, Wendy's got that cold vibe, but she's damn pretty. Not a bad trade-off. Could be a memorable fling before the end. I stayed in the hospital for 5 days. Rachel never showed up. No expectations there anymore. After getting out, I heard from the system that Wendy is having a birthday party at JS Club. No way I'm missing a chance like this. I put on a snazzy suit, got a nice birthday cake, and headed to the VIP lounge. The place was buzzing when I arrived. Lots of young people there. And right in the center was Wendy. There were guys surrounding her, but nobody was getting too close. My arrival made the room go quiet for a few seconds. Then a teasing voice broke the silence. Rachel, your loyal dog is here. That's when I noticed Rachel was in the crowd too. Funny how some people become invisible once they're no longer important. But I figured Rachel would be at Wendy's birthday party. Whether she's here or not, doesn't matter. Didn't even care about the rude nickname her friends gave me. It's not their fault. Rachel's attitude gave them free rein to mock me. Rachel, how'd you get a guy wrapped around your finger like that? Give us some tips. We want one too, someone called out among the crude chatter. Rachel came up, her face twisted with anger, yelling, George, get lost. Isn't this over? Why'd you dress up like this? Pathetic. She thought I was dressed for her today. I just gave a cold smile and walked past her, heading straight to Wendy. Everyone was shocked by my behavior. Back in the day, I was a doormat for Rachel. If she said east, I wouldn't dare go west. I never took my eyes off her. But now I was the focus of attention. Wendy looked at me, amused. I handed her the cake, saying, Wendy, I picked this out myself. Happy birthday. Wendy raised an eyebrow, glanced me over, and then at the cake. Before she could react, Rachel grabbed my arm so hard I almost fell. The cake wobbled on the edge of tumbling. George, what game are you playing? Do you think I'll get jealous? She yelled, her eyes blazing with fury. You're just making yourself look pathetic. Let go of me. I shook off her hand. Rachel's eyes widened, shocked I'd stand up to her. Rachel, we're done, I said slowly. I'm going after Wendy now. The room was buzzing. Nobody thought I'd ever move on from Rachel. George, Rachel warned, not believing me. Her voice filled with disdain. She assumed I was trying to get her attention. I said, we're done. I like Wendy now. I'm going after her. I repeated, my tone impatient. Please step aside. George, this is your last chance. If you keep this up, you're signing your own death warrant, Rachel threatened. Meaning, if I didn't obey, she'd make sure I fail my mission and face system punishment. I laughed, not because of indifference to Rachel's threats, but because even if I did follow orders, she'd never let me succeed. She doesn't like me. She despises me. Don't block the way, I said firmly, my gaze icy as I looked at her. Rachel's pupils suddenly changed. She still couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe I'd say something so disrespectful to her. I saw her fists clench. If it wasn't for all the people around, she might have punched me dead. She said harshly, George, I've given you chances, and you didn't cherish them. Even if you beg me on your knees, I won't look at you. I remained indifferent. Rachel gritted her teeth and stormed off. My mind wasn't on Rachel. I looked at Wendy. She was as steady as ever, without any hint of emotion over my drama with Rachel. She watched me with interest. You heard me talking to Rachel just now. I don't like her anymore. I like you. I want to pursue you. I'm not beating around the bush. Just a year. It'll fly by. Maybe it's just my not caring mindset. But I've got to go through the motions. I know that trying doesn't guarantee success, but not trying ensures failure. I don't want to die with regrets. Reason. Wendy's cool voice asked with just 2 words as her red lips moved slightly. You're prettier than Rachel. Wendy laughed, but her smile felt cold, like she wasn't amused at all. She said, I've been prettier than her for more than just a day or 2. I was stunned for a moment. Talk about being clear-headed. I chased Rachel for 4 years with nothing to show for it, I added. Wendy laughed again. What makes you think I'd pick up your leftovers? I pressed my lips together. The system was right Wendy's way tougher to deal with than Rachel. Otherwise, the men around her would have succeeded by now. I never slept with Rachel, I stated. Wendy's eyes shifted. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself, I said sincerely. Wendy was obviously taken aback, her face turning red. Friends around her teased, George is quite bold. Was he just pretending to be Rachel's obedient pup? Wendy, George is making a move. Why not give it a shot? The room filled with laughter, mocking me. I was used to ridicule from my days chasing Rachel. Now I just waited for Wendy's response. Before she could reply, Rachel appeared again. She was here for Wendy's birthday and wouldn't leave over a few words. Sitting far from me, her sudden return puzzled me. She grabbed my hand and snapped, George, stop embarrassing yourself here. It's disgusting. She tried dragging me away. I resisted but couldn't shake free. Before Rachel pulled me out, I hurriedly placed a cake on the table in front of Wendy, saying hastily, Wendy, happy birthday. It's ice cream flavored, eat it before it melts. Dragged by Rachel, I reached the door. Rachel opened it angrily, but it slammed shut hard. I looked up to see Wendy standing between Rachel and me. Rachel's eyes were bloodshot with fury. Wendy, what are you doing? This is my birthday party. Compared to Rachel's anger, Wendy was calm, her tone indifferent, as if she wasn't bothered. He's here for me, Wendy said, glancing at me with a slight smile. Whether he leaves or not isn't your call. You know why he's here? Rachel fumed. For what reason? Wendy asked intentionally. He's here to impress you, but he just wants to get my attention. He can't really like you, Rachel insisted. Wendy turned to me. Is that true? No, I denied, firm. I don't like Rachel anymore. It's her imagination. Wendy, satisfied with my answer, smiled. Did you hear? He says you're imagining things. Rachel flushed red with anger. It was like I gave her an invisible slap, sharp and loud. Her grip on my wrist tightened, causing pain. I couldn't tell if she was holding back her emotions or retaliating against me. I struggled more but couldn't break free. Let's do this, Wendy suggested calmly. Let George choose. If he wants to go with you, I won't stop him. But if he doesn't, then back off. Rachel's face was livid. In this town, no one dared to challenge Wendy seriously. Even though the Hank and the Brooke families are connected through Rachel's mom and Wendy's dad being siblings, the Hank doesn't have a say in front of the Brooke. Not to mention, Wendy's rumored to be heartless. Rachel coldly told me, George, I've given you plenty of chances. Don't push your luck. I pressed my lips and looked to Wendy. Her expression remained indifferent. She asked, George, are you going with Rachel? No. I answered without hesitation, I'm going with you. As soon as I spoke, Rachel's grip on my arm tightened as if trying to crush it. I couldn't help but cry out in pain. Let me go. Wendy's eyes narrowed slightly. She sternly told Rachel, let him go. Rachel did not loosen her grip. I'll count to 3. Wendy's voice was calm yet chilling. 1, 2. Rachel let go. George, you're bringing this on yourself. Rachel was all fired up, saying, Rachel, will never go easy on you again. Again? That's funny. When have you ever gone easy on me? No need, I replied firmly. Rachel was shaking with anger, but I'd already shifted my attention to Wendy. Wendy didn't care about Rachel's anger and said, if you're coming with me, then let's go. She opened the room's door and headed out first. I was surprised. So many people came to celebrate Wendy's birthday, and she just up and left? Not wasting any time, I followed her right away. As I did, I felt like Rachel reached out to grab me, or maybe it was just my imagination. In the end, I successfully got into Wendy's supercar with her. She was driving. Fast. No idea if she drank or not. I didn't smell any booze on her when I got close. But sitting in the passenger seat had me all tense. I was terrified we'd crash and burn any second. I was trembling, too afraid to even ask Wendy where we were headed. She kept driving to more deserted areas, eventually going up a mountain. Finally, we reached the top. Wendy stopped the car. She didn't get out but opened the sunroof and lit a woman's cigarette. Still scared, I carefully asked, "What are we doing here? Didn't you say you like me?" She taunted, exhaling smoke. "Wouldn't you need to prove it?" I froze. Prove it? Like in the car? Or? I glanced at the dark trees nearby, thinking how twisted she was. Wendy suddenly laughed. This time it seemed genuine. She laughed for a while. I was just dumbfounded. She said, "George, you're dreaming." Then she opened the car door and got out. I watched her under the sparse, dim streetlights on the mountain. The night was nice, with lots of stars, almost romantic. Just as I was lost in thought, the crazy loud sound of car engines echoed nearby. Next thing I know, 10 or so supercars parked beside Wendy's. What's all this about? A bunch of stylish young people got out, chatting with Wendy. Wendy came back to me and said, "Tonight we're racing. A friend's boyfriend is pretty good. If you win for me, maybe I'll believe you really like me. You want me to risk my life to prove it?" I looked at Wendy, speechless. Even the system whispered sarcastically in my ear, "Told ya, Wendy's harder to handle than Rachel, she's got serious issues." "I don't mind if you don't." Wendy shrugged and turned to leave. "Okay," I agreed. Wendy paused in surprise. Then she chuckled a bit, not really expecting much from me. The system sighed in my ear. "All I can do is wish you luck." I slid into the driver's seat. The guy in the other car looked confident, flipping me off. I stayed calm, held my breath. After a loud whistle, his sports car darted ahead, putting distance between us. I quickly hit the gas to catch up, heart pounding wildly. Never driven this fast before. Felt like I might just take off. "Host, can't even see his taillights," the system warned. I gritted my teeth, pushed the pedal harder. "Host, there's a sharp turn ahead." I didn't slow down. Nearly got flung out at that turn. "Host, you're at 180 beyond your limits," the system cautioned. I kept increasing pressure on the pedal. "Host, he's 50 meters ahead." "Host, you're at 220. "Host, you caught up now, you're doing 280. "Host, you've passed him, approaching the finish line." "Host, you reached the finish first. Time to stop, you're at 310. "Host, host, sharp turn ahead, you can't make it. Stop now, stop." The system was yelling in my ear. I saw the turn coming. I knew I had to stop, but I was all over the place. Watched helplessly as the car hurtled toward the curve. Echoing in the open sky were wild screeching brakes, followed by the crunch of metal on metal. The car hit the side railings. My forehead slammed into the steering wheel. But I stopped it just in time, inches from flying off the cliff. The system had probably been scared out of its wits, silent for a good while. I was dizzy from the blow. Heard banging on the car door. A voice yelling furiously, "George, are you insane? Open up, open up." I managed to open the car door. Wendy looked at me, her eyes red, probably from nerves. "Are you alive?" she asked. I smiled at her, but blood trickled down my forehead. I said, "I won, Wendy." "Idiot," she cursed, kneeling to undo my seatbelt, pulling me out. I was getting dizzier, but before blacking out, I mustered up to say, "Wendy, you better keep your word." When I woke up again, I was back in the hospital. I tried to move. "Don't move," came a strict voice. "The doctor said you have a concussion." I turned and saw Wendy. Was a bit surprised she was here. "Are you brain dead from the crash?" Wendy had her brows furrowed, eyes locked on me. Then I remembered. Last night, I went racing with Wendy. We crashed.
"No, imawaka,"
I said quickly, recalling her words. "You said if I won, you'd believe I liked you." Wendy kept her lips pursed, saying nothing. "You wouldn't go back on your word, would you?" I asked nervously. "I risked my life for this." I didn't actually think I'd win. It was just a belief while driving. If I couldn't win Wendy over, it was like a dead end anyway. Might as well give it everything I had. I ended up winning the bet she better not renege. George, Wendy suddenly called my name seriously. Do you like Rachel? I like you now. If you really like Rachel, I can help. Wendy acted like she didn't understand, thinking of last night as my reward. Wendy, how many times do I have to say, I don't like Rachel now, I like you? I'm seriously frustrated. Are both sisters insane? Not listening to a word. When I said I didn't like Rachel, she wouldn't believe it. When I said I liked Wendy, she wouldn't believe it either. It's maddening. Your feelings for Rachel are well known. But everyone knows I couldn't win Rachel over. I looked at Wendy. So I gave up and started liking you. Changing your heart so fast? Wendy said coldly, clearly still doubting me. Wendy, I'm just asking if what you said last night stands. I didn't want to argue anymore. It does need time to prove. Wendy was silent for a while, thinking and hesitating. Then she slowly replied, yes. I was thrilled, excitedly asking, can we date now? George, you're overthinking. Wendy gave a cold smile. I only said I believe you like me. Never said I'd date you. After all, there are so many guys who like me. How could I date them all? Just lie there. I'll pick you up after discharge. Wendy left after saying that. The system popped up excitedly. Host, I sense potential here. Potential for what? I mumbled. I thought victory was near. Who knew Wendy would be like this? Wendy stayed with you all night at the hospital, by your side all along. She even got the best doctors to check on you, afraid of something happening. Isn't it possible she was just worried about the trouble I'd cause if I died? I asked. True, that could be it, the system agreed. But overall, it's a good sign, the system encouraged. I perked up, thinking it might be. Rachel never gave me a chance to get close. But Wendy at least gave me the chance to prove myself. Even if it nearly cost me my life. Thinking it over, neither sister seems like a good person. Evening. Wendy came to pick me up from the hospital. I thought she was just saying it casually, but she really came. She dropped me at my apartment's gate. Thanks, I said with gratitude. Wendy stayed indifferent. Can I come see you often? I asked her. Do whatever you want. I hid my happiness. Can I get your contact info? Wendy impatiently took out her phone and opened a QR code. I added her immediately, satisfied as I got out of the car. Take care on your way. I waved with a smile. Wendy drove away without looking back. I turned to head home. George. At the gate, Rachel emerged from the shadows. I frowned at her. Never thought Rachel would look for me. Once, I waited at her house without food or water for a whole day and night. She was home, knew I was there, but never let me in. I pretended not to see her, walked right past. George. Rachel gritted her teeth, grabbing my arm. Rachel, let go, or I'll call the cops. Enough of this drama. Rachel yelled. I heard you raced with Wendy yesterday? You know she's nuts. She doesn't care about lives. Even if she killed someone, her family can handle it. That's my business. Let go. I shoved Rachel away. She stumbled back, getting more agitated. George, stop this nonsense. No, you stop. I shouted back. I don't like you anymore. Stop haunting me. Haunting you. Rachel laughed. She spat out. George, do you even know who you are? My identity? What? Did you forget? You're a seeker. Or are you just planning to wait for death? Rachel sneered. Yeah, I'm just waiting for death. I was all in. Didn't want to bother with Rachel anymore. Since I can't win you over, why not live happily? What's wrong with wanting to experience love before dying? You're shameless. Rachel fumed. If I'm dying, why care about shame? I smirked. I just want to be happy now. George. Rachel trembled with anger. I couldn't fathom why she was so mad. Shouldn't she be happy? I'm finally not bothering her anymore. You think you can really win over Wendy? Rachel took a deep breath, saying harshly, I'll tell you, Wendy has liked someone forever. They grew up together, childhood sweethearts. He went abroad a few years ago, and Wendy's been waiting. She won't ever like you. I was taken aback for a moment. This was the first time I'd heard that Wendy liked someone. No wonder she's been single all these years. Someone like you, Wendy wouldn't even look twice at, Rachel said, glaring at me. I wasn't trying to get Wendy to like me anyway. Just some lonely people having fun, I said nonchalantly. George, how can you be so shameless? Then stay away from me. I don't want to see you anymore, you're an eyesore. I pronounced each word coldly. You. Rachel was fuming at my words. She gritted her teeth. George, I'm giving you a chance. Just admit you're wrong. Promise never to have anything to do with Wendy again. And I might reluctantly forgive you and let you stay by my side. Rachel, your ego is too big. Forgive me? How do you have the nerve to say that? I sarcastically replied. There's no need for that. It's better we stay out of each other's lives. You'll regret this. Never, I said, leaving Rachel red-faced. She didn't see any sign of weakness from me, felt indignant, and turned to leave. She threw a final threat back at me. George, you better not come crawling back. I watched Rachel's back indifferently, a little lost in thought. Not because Rachel affected my mood, but because changing my focus meant I was completely over her with no feelings left. I was more occupied with the thought that Wendy had someone she liked. It's true, it was a bit disappointing. If you're alive, who really wants to give up? At that moment, the system's voice startled me from my thoughts. I think Rachel's developed feelings for you. Isn't that just women's nature? What you can't have is always the best, I mocked. Not now, from that night. The voice explained, the night you were found unconscious at the alley entrance. Rachel actually stayed by your side in the hospital the whole night. She only left just before you woke up. I suppose she didn't want you to know she cared. Why would she be afraid? I asked because it made no sense to the system either. She probably just doesn't want to like me, I said confidently. There's a world of difference between not wanting to like me at all and trying but not succeeding. The former is the deal breaker. In retrospect, I should have realized it sooner. But maybe there's not much to regret. Getting someone to like you can take a year or 10, there's not much difference. After that day, I stayed cooped up at home for days, didn't even bother reaching out to Wendy. The system said I was on a path of self-destruction. What could I do? Wendy liked someone else, and I didn't even know if it was mutual. If it was, then I'd be the third wheel. I don't like the idea of being the other guy. Surprisingly, a month later, Wendy messaged me. Are you dead? That girl, her words could be sharper than Rachel's. Alive and kicking, I replied, sending her a picture of me showing off at the gym. So, that's how you say you like me? I was just afraid of bothering you. Wanna go out to see? Today? Forget it. I'll be right there. Where are you? Downstairs. So she was already waiting at my complex's gate? I felt a surge of excitement. The system reminded me, seize the opportunity, host. I quickly changed clothes, fixed my hair a bit, and headed out. By the time I got to the gate, 20 minutes had passed. I spotted Wendy leaning impatiently against her sports car from a distance. People walking by couldn't help but take a second look at her. Cool car, even cooler person. Impossible not to be captivated. I jogged over, about to speak. You had the nerve to keep me waiting this long? George, you really are something, Wendy said, not in a good mood. I wanted to look good to see you. I feigned grievance. Wendy glanced over my attire, stayed silent, and got into the car. I quickly took the passenger seat. Inside was a bit too quiet. Quiet enough to feel awkward. I tried starting a conversation. Why go out to sea today? Do I need a reason to want to go? Not the easiest person to talk to. I chose to stay silent. We soon reached the harbor. I joined Wendy on the yacht. The large yacht was full of young people. I didn't expect Wendy to be out with me alone. Seeing Rachel on the yacht made me uneasy. Rachel grinned wickedly when she saw me. I wasn't sure why. My gut told me something was off. Sure enough, I soon met a man. Smiling pleasantly but obviously not friendly. His eyes scanned over me several times before settling on Wendy. Polite, he asked Wendy, Akin, is this your boyfriend? Not yet, Wendy said, with a touch of flirtation in her voice. I instantly realized this man must be the one Rachel mentioned, someone Wendy liked for years before he went abroad. So now he's back. No wonder Rachel's smile was so devious. This was intended to embarrass me. I'm pursuing Wendy, but haven't succeeded yet, I said openly. Is that so? The man smiled. Akin is a high mountain flower, not easy to pursue. Well, are you pursuing her too? I asked. Me? He hesitated. We're just friends, longtime friends. Wendy sneered a bit at his words, taking my hand and pulling me to the side. We stood on the yacht's deck. Wendy smoked quietly. I said nothing beside her. The system chimed in. There's something between Wendy and that man. Obviously, rolling my eyes. Any fool could see that. I pursed my lips and gathered the courage to ask, Wendy, do you like that guy? Wendy puffed on her cigarette. She turned to look at me. Don't dig where you shouldn't, she said. I just want to know. Can I keep chasing you? Wendy put out her half-smoked cigarette and casually said, do what you like and don't worry about others. So does this mean I can keep chasing her? I might end up being ignored, maybe used, but it's better to try than do nothing. Worst case scenario, if I help make a couple happy before I go, it's a good deed. I smiled charmingly at Wendy. I'll work hard to make you like me and forget the bad times he brought you. Wendy laughed dismissively, mocking my overconfidence. But I'm thick-skinned and don't mind being laughed at. I tagged along with Wendy, enjoying life on the yacht. If nothing else, I got a taste of the rich life before I kicked the bucket. Suddenly, I realized Wendy was nowhere to be found. I was alone, barbecuing on the deck. Wendy had disappeared. Meanwhile, Rachel showed up in front of me, saying, George, I suggest you don't embarrass yourself. I ignored Rachel and kept gnawing on top-tier Wagyu. Leon is from a well-off family, a good match for Wendy. He studied abroad and is now a renowned cellist. He's someone you can't compare to. Rachel's voice carried a load of sarcasm. Leon's back just for Wendy and plans to stay in the country for her. George, it's valuable to know your limits. What do you have to compare with Leon? I looked up at Rachel. Did you tip off Leon to come back? I can't help but suspect. Rachel's actions are suspicious. Her face changed immediately, seemingly caught off guard. Furious, she said, George, is this the point? The point is, you're being a fool. Rachel, you're quite the piece of work. In the middle of our argument, we heard urgent voices. Oh no! Wendy's $1 million watch fell into the sea. It was her most cherished memento from her grandpa. She never took it off. I rushed towards the commotion without hesitation. I saw Wendy's flushed face, like she just argued with someone. Her eyes were locked on the sea, radiating cold vibes. I jumped off the deck without thinking twice. Who jumped in? Are they crazy? This is the sea, and we're in the middle of it. Is it George? He'd risk his life for Wendy? I couldn't hear those on the boat anymore. I swam frantically in the water. I thought I saw the watch, slowly sinking. I gritted my teeth, swimming faster towards it. Pushing myself hard, I grabbed it. Excited, I swam up. As soon as I surfaced, ready to show Wendy my catch, a cramp hit my leg, maybe from no warm-up. I grew heavy and started sinking again. My voice didn't even make it out, swallowed by the sea. Shoot, this might really be it for me. I choked on seawater and finally woke up. The first thing I saw was Wendy's anxious close-up face. George, are you suicidal? Wendy yelled, eyes red like a little rabbit but fierce as a lioness. Both scary and cute. I lifted my hand, holding Wendy's watch tightly. Got it back for you. Wendy was furious. You're a maniac. Isn't this your grandpa's watch? I was annoyed. I returned something precious, and you're cursing me. Not thanking me? Idiot. Wendy scolds but softens. You really like me that much? Truth is, I helped her out of sheer humanity. I'm a good swimmer, hardly ever drown, I just got unlucky. Diving for her valuables was no big deal. But now that I'm so close to winning, I had to go for it. Nodding eagerly, I answered, yeah, like I'd give up my life for you. Wendy sighed, reluctantly saying, all right, I'll give you a chance to be my boyfriend. What? I could hardly believe it. Neither could Rachel, who went berserk. George, you can't agree. Leon looked hurt. Wendy, are you really picking him? Wendy helped me up from the deck, telling Leon, you shouldn't test my limits. I didn't mean to. Leon's eyes reddened, hurriedly trying to explain. I learned later that Wendy and Leon had argued on the deck. Leon accused Wendy of never putting him first, saying she didn't stop him from going abroad or warm up to him when he came back. In his frustration, he tossed Wendy's watch into the sea to provoke her, not expecting to cross her line. Leon is a spoiled brat, arrogant and unrestrained, can't stand being ignored. But Wendy doesn't bow to anyone. She might like Leon but loves herself more. She won't compromise for anyone. They're two people who are doomed never to be together. Did I just luck out? Wendy pulled me away, ignoring Leon's explanations. George. A few steps in, Rachel stood in my way. Don't go with her, Rachel urged, desperate. Wendy tightened her grip on my hand, but she didn't say a word. It seemed like she wanted me to make my own decision. Are you coming with me? I asked her sarcastically. Fine, come with me and I'll agree to be your boyfriend, Rachel said generously. I just laughed. But I don't want that anymore, I uttered, clear and slow. George, Rachel's veins bulged. I've given you so many chances. Don't be so ungrateful. Shut up, I interrupted Rachel. The further away you go in your mind, the better. After saying that, I walked away with Wendy, leaving Rachel behind. She tainted my beautiful love. Wendy and I took a speedboat back to shore. Then we got into Wendy's sports car. Wendy drove me back to my neighborhood. I wasn't in a rush to get out. I still felt a bit unsure. Wendy, you're not lying to me, right? I asked. You're not just doing this to upset Leon, are you? So what about you? Wendy shot back. Are you doing this just to upset Rachel? I swore to heaven. I don't love Rachel anymore if I'm lying. May lightning strike me down. Wendy smiled. Her smile was really beautiful. She nodded and said, yeah, me too, Wendy added. I felt a rush of excitement. But then Wendy's face turned stern. Get out of the car. Is that how you treat a boyfriend? Don't catch a cold. Go change your clothes, Wendy ordered. Her reminder made me realize I was still soaking wet. Can I kiss you before I go? I asked cautiously. Happiness was so sudden, I feared it wasn't real. Nope, Wendy flat out refused me. Stingy. I grumbled as I started to get out of the car. Then suddenly, I felt a tug on the back of my head. Wendy pulled me in for a kiss. When she pulled away, her face was beet red. Shameless, she murmured. From now on, I'll handle this kind of thing. Okay. I grinned sweetly. Aren't you leaving? I quickly got out of the car. This time, Wendy didn't drive off immediately. She waited until I walked deep into the neighborhood before slowly leaving. System, did I succeed? I asked excitedly when I got home. Does this mean I don't have to die? 80% successful, the system replied. What does 80% mean? You need to be in a stable relationship for at least a year for a full success. Maybe she's just caught up in the moment. You and your whole family are caught up in the moment. Of course, I don't blame the system. It operates by the rules. So next, I just need to work on maintaining my relationship with Wendy. As I spent more time with Wendy, I found out that despite her cool demeanor and feminist views, she wasn't as hard to get along with as she seemed. In fact, she'd even show concern for me, though often with a sharp tongue. We've been dating for 2 months now, and our relationship is getting better. During this time, Rachel called and texted me several times. I ignored her and eventually blocked her. Just as I was about to forget Rachel's existence, I ran into her at my doorstep. Was it an illusion? She looked like she'd lost a lot of weight and didn't seem in good spirits. Looking at me, she said, George, you're really playing for real. Huh. Rachel still thought I was just messing around with her? What do you think? I raised an eyebrow. Aren't you afraid of dying? Rachel asked menacingly. If I'm to die under a peony, I'd be a merry ghost. I responded triumphantly. I'm giving you one last chance. Rachel tempered her anger. Leave Wendy now, and I'll forgive you and even agree to be with you. Not interested. Not interested. Not interested. I stated clearly and slowly, 100 times, 1,000 times, I'm not interested. Rachel was furious. Her eyes reddened immediately. For a moment it seemed like Rachel was truly hurt. But why does it matter to me? I brushed past her and coldly went home. George, if I can't have a good time, neither will you. Rachel threatened from behind. I couldn't care less. I was eager to call Wendy. I slammed my door shut behind me. Rachel was nothing in my world anymore. Little did I know, I underestimated Rachel and her cunningness. That night, I went to Wendy's to help her make a special dinner. Once there, I sensed something different about her. She had always been cool, but today she felt distant. "Wendy?" I asked, surprised. Wendy lightly pressed her lips together. "George, are you a strategist?" she inquired. I felt a jolt in my heart. In that brief moment, I realized Rachel had informed Wendy. Only she knew my identity. I pondered how to explain. "I heard if the strategy doesn't succeed, you'll die," Wendy said, her eyes watering. "So, would you die?" As she spoke, her eyes turned red. She pressed her lips together, seemingly trying hard to keep her emotions in check. "Are you afraid I'll die?" I asked her. "George," Wendy burst out, "do you find this amusing? When things didn't work with Rachel, you're using me as your toy to fulfill your last desires, and then you plan to leave me." Though she spoke loudly, her voice was a bit choked. "Are those tears?" I quickly tried to comfort her. "I'm not that irresponsible. Yes, I am a strategist," I confessed. Rachel didn't lie. "I'll die if I don't succeed, and unfortunately, it's my last year to do so, or rather, my last 6 months." I watched as Wendy's eyes turned even redder. "But I've succeeded now, I won't die," I assured her. "You're lying," Wendy shot back. "You're not with Rachel, so how did you succeed?" "Because I changed my target," I chuckled. "My new target has been you for a while now." Wendy paused. She looked at me, surprised and a bit unsure. Maybe she feared I was lying to her. I had a chance to change my target. I said, "So I gave up on Rachel." "For real? If I'm lying, may I be struck by lightning." "I swear." Seeing how firm I was, Wendy's face softened a bit. "Actually, now I'm worried. Will you find me lacking?" "Why would I find you lacking?" "Because I only approached you to win you over. Would you think my love isn't genuine?" I said nervously. Rachel really despised my status. She's just insecure about herself. Wendy was spot on, and I'm so perfect. There's no man who wouldn't love me. For the first time, I was glad the woman I loved was a narcissist. By the way, Rachel said that after a strategist completes their mission, they have to leave this world. Wendy suddenly got serious. "In principle, yes, but you can choose not to leave." "Will you leave?" Wendy asked me. "I'm not leaving," I said with certainty. From the start, I never considered it. My original world wasn't friendly to me. Why go back just to suffer? I just want to live happily in this world. Start over. Leaving such a perfect woman? That'd be a huge loss for me, I said, pretending to be serious. Wendy pulled me into her arms. "George, if you dare to leave me and run, I'll? What will you do?" I looked at Wendy up close. "Would you cry for me? Honestly, when you thought I was about to die, were you about to cry?" "No." Your eyes were clearly red, I could tell. "I wasn't. Just admit it, you were about to cry for me." "George, are you trying to cry?" Wendy asked, gritting her teeth. "I won't cry." "Oh, really?" Wendy smirked evilly. My heart skipped a beat. Looking at the dangerously amused Wendy. Can I take back what I just said? That night, Wendy, who hates evil as much as sin, made me cry, bullied me all night. The next day, exhausted, I went home. Saw Rachel at the door. She probably came to see my downfall. Yet I was glowing. "Sorry to disappoint you, Rachel." I barely stood tall. My relationship with Wendy has only gotten better. "Impossible." Rachel didn't believe it. But she also seemed to realize I wasn't lying. Her expression turned anxious. "Wendy wouldn't ignore your status. Even if she does, you're going to die. If she truly loves you, she'd want you back with me," Rachel said quickly. I didn't want to hide the truth from Rachel anymore. Better for her to give up sooner. I said, "Rachel, months ago I changed my target. Meaning you weren't my goal for a while. Wendy is my focus now." "No," Rachel's face turned pale. "That's impossible." She couldn't believe it's true. "Targets can't just change. No, I don't accept it." Rachel couldn't face the facts and looked mentally distressed. I said coldly, "Changing targets is tough. Thanks to you, I lost all hope. That's why I decided. But now, I thank you for your cruelty. which led me to Wendy and completing my mission, without fear of being wiped out. Shut up. Just shut up. Rachel practically screamed. Her face twisted. George, you must be lying to me. You're just doing this to spite me. I don't believe it. Believe what you want, it doesn't matter. I dropped a line and turned to leave. Opened the door. Rachel suddenly grabbed me from behind. You're lying, right? You're just mad at me, right? Rachel said in panic, holding me tight, not letting go. I struggled hard and shouted, Rachel, let go of me. I won't, never again. Enough. What are you even doing? You hate me, despise me. Shouldn't you be happy I'm not around? I said with great disgust. I was wrong. Rachel suddenly broke down. George, I admit I was wrong. Can we start over? I admit you won. I chuckled, laughing speechless. Now, Rachel tells me I succeeded? Women, I swear. Only after losing something do they value it? Too late. I said calmly, Rachel, ever since you left me humiliated in the alley, I lost all feelings for you. It was over then. No, it can't be. You loved me so much you can't live without me. I can. You even disgust me now. I used all my strength to shake Rachel off. Her eyes reddened, witnessing my coldness, rejection, disgust. She panicked, really panicked. The next moment, she dropped to her knees in front of me. A woman who was always above me, now on her knees. Truly, I've seen it all. Her head hung low, tears streaming down, as if in utter grief. George, please, forgive me just once? I never meant to hurt you, I just… Her voice choked up. Then she finally said loudly, George, I love you. A long time ago I fell for you. I just refused to accept it, that's why I treated you that way. I was wrong, really wrong. Rachel was a tearful, snotty mess. Never dreamed I'd see Rachel like this. Even the system couldn't resist whispering to me, I told you Rachel liked you from the start. At this point, she only has herself to blame. Rachel, I don't accept your apology. I said coldly, not just because I have a new target, but mainly because she genuinely hurt me. She's not worth forgiving. One George, there's a reason Rachel tried to explain. I cut her off right there. No matter how big the reason, hurt is hurt. Don't use love as a pretext to make me despise you even more. George, Rachel, just leave it. I don't want to talk anymore. Yet, just as I was about to walk away, Rachel grabbed me again. She snapped, holding me tightly, muttering over and over, I won't let go, George. I'll never let go. I love you, and you're mine. No one can take you away from me. Not in this lifetime. She began to act aggressively. No, I resisted, but she was too forceful. Suddenly, I remembered that night in the dark alley. A group of men had done the same to me. No matter how I pleaded or shouted for help, Rachel just stood nearby, indifferent. They hadn't completed their intentions that night. Was Rachel finally trying to make me hate her forever in her own twisted way? At my lowest moment, the weight pinning me down suddenly lifted, followed by a loud punching sound. I saw Wendy. She appeared like a superhero, coming to my rescue. Wendy had knocked Rachel to the ground. Rachel was bleeding, unable to get up, looking utterly miserable. Wendy, stop, I held Wendy back. Not because I felt sorry for Rachel, I just feared Wendy might kill someone in the heat of the moment. It wasn't worth it to risk everything for Rachel. Wendy stopped and looked at me, pulling me into a hug, comforting me, saying, George, don't be scared. It's okay now, it's okay. I wasn't scared. She gave me a sense of safety, warming me instantly. It was Wendy who was trembling, scared that I might get hurt. Was fearless Wendy afraid of me getting hurt too? I hugged her back with all my strength. George, Rachel, still on the ground, spoke up, her face bloodied. Wendy heard Rachel and tried to go at her again. I held Wendy back from being impulsive. Rachel said, Wendy, once they succeed, they always leave. George will leave you one day. He's just fooling you now. Even in this state, Rachel was trying to ruin things between Wendy and me. Wendy almost lost her cool there. Let's call the cops, I urgently suggested. Wendy looked at me. I stood firm. She needs to face legal consequences. George, Would you really do this to me? Rachel cried out in disbelief. So, she still couldn't believe I felt nothing for her anymore. Love needs time to prove itself. Not loving someone does too. Without hesitation, I called the police. There were security cameras at my door. I handed the footage of Rachel's assault to them. Rachel was taken to the police station and eventually sentenced to 5 years for attempted sexual assault. Rachel was in prison for a year when Wendy and I got married. Wendy threw a grand wedding for us. On our wedding day, Wendy bought all the ad spaces in the Capitol. Even the prison TV broadcasted our wedding. Before the whole nation, Wendy made a promise to me. May George find only happiness for the rest of his days. From then on, the most challenging princess became the ultimate devoted partner. Years later, we had a child. We were playing in the park one day and I saw Rachel. She'd been released a while ago, sitting in a wheelchair, her legs disabled, eyes vacant. When she saw me, her eyes went red, but she didn't dare approach, slowly wheeling herself away. The sunset stretched her shadow, making Rachel look lonely and forlorn. Still looking, I heard a disapproving voice from behind. I smiled, turned away, and fell into Wendy's embrace. Some people are destined to never be part of your life, but with some, they're your forever. Rachel's epilogue. I hate the seducers. My dad was one. After he won over my mom, he left when I was 10. My mom went crazy because he vanished. She became manic, extreme, and a heavy drinker. She even started abusing me, taking out her obsession with my dad on me, because I looked just like him. Every time she looked at me, her heart ached and she felt miserable. I don't hate my mom, I just hate my dad. He cruelly abandoned me and my mom. Because of him, I hate all the seducers. So when George showed up, and I saw through his seducer act, I unleashed years of resentment for my dad on him. I couldn't let him succeed in seducing me. I needed to torment him. For those 4 years, no matter how well he treated me, I just mocked him mercilessly. I didn't expect to fall for George. I don't even know when it started. By the time I realized it, it seemed too late. But I couldn't accept this part of me. I blamed him for everything. I set up a trap to ruin him, to prove to myself that there was no way I had feelings for him, it was all an illusion. That night, I heard his heart-wrenching screams and felt nothing. I watched him fall into the dirt with a great sense of revenge. But when he actually fainted in front of me, my heart broke. I took him to the hospital. I stayed with him all night. I wanted to leave coldly so many times, but I stayed until he was almost awake. I couldn't let George know I cared or accept this part of myself. George stayed in the hospital for a few days, and I didn't visit him once. I even considered never seeing him again. But then, to my surprise, he started pursuing Wendy. When I saw him looking at Wendy all starry-eyed, I lost it. In that moment, I realized I truly loved George. I couldn't bear him looking at any other woman, loving any other woman. I tried everything to stop him. I told myself George was doing it on purpose for me to see. If he couldn't win me over, he'd die. There's no way he'd leave me. But things seemed to spiral out of control. It looked like George was seriously trying to win over Wendy, just like he did with me. I got scared. I feared George would really abandon me. I reached out to Leon, who always had feelings for Wendy. Leon wouldn't allow Wendy to be with another man. Just as I hoped, Leon came rushing back. But I never expected Leon's temper to blow up his relationship with Wendy, only pushing George and Wendy closer. Panicked, I told Wendy about George being a seducer, warning her off to avoid George's death. But George told me he changed his target to Wendy. In that moment, it felt like my world collapsed. I couldn't believe it, but George made me realize I was nothing to him anymore. I went insane. I clung to George, trying in a desperate way to keep him with me. I failed and Wendy beat me up. George sent me to jail. It was only then that I realized George truly didn't love me anymore. He was really gone, even though I kept lying to myself. I even convinced myself that he would leave once the seduction was complete. We'd both lose him in the end. Wendy would end up like my mom, deranged. But I didn't see them split. Instead, I watched their grand wedding from prison. They were so happy, a happiness I could never reach. but I still believed one day George would leave. Until my 3rd year in prison when my mom came to see me. She admitted that my dad left because she wronged him. She couldn't accept her fault and took it out on others, especially me. In that moment, my world and everything I believed in crumbled. I realized all I thought was right was wrong. I lost George, lost the man I loved and who loved me. I'm a walking shell now. 5 years later, I got out of prison. On the day I got out, I had an accident and became disabled. I don't know if it was a coincidence or karma. Someone like me deserves karma. Living alone with a disability, I saw George again at the park after years of avoiding him. He was with his family, laughing on the beach. I watched him for a long time before he noticed me. His indifferent gaze was like looking at a stranger. I turned away, hoping he'd call out to me, even out of pity. But he didn't. When I turned back once more, he had returned to Wendy's embrace, smiling brightly. Suddenly, Wendy's words came to mind. George is often joyful. She made it happen. And now, George is gone from my life forever.